Okay girl, today I'm going to be showing you how to do a lash lift and tint. So you're going to need your lash lift and tint kit. You're also going to need some Q-tips, and you're also going to need some saran wrap. This is to help make sure that the product stays nice and moist while it's sitting for the timer. If you let your product sit and kind of let it, like, you don't put anything to cover up the product, you will notice that your product will get dried out. Okay, so this is what we need. We are going to go in with our lash lift tint and kit. Most lash lift tint and kits come with a book as well too. That way, if you ever forget your steps, it's literally right here. Okay, so it'll tell you everything that you get in your kit, tips and tricks for a better lash lift, how to use your sizes, and the steps that you need whenever it comes to doing a lash lift and tint. So let's get to it. So the very first thing we are going to do is we are going to prep our lashes with a lash bath. Lash baths are always important. That way you make sure the product is working the way it's supposed to and you have a nice clean canvas. So take your lash shampoo and go in and cleanse the lash line the same way you would if you were going to be doing a lash extension set. Okay, so same thing when it comes to your lash lift and tints. You always want to make sure that you have a nice pretty clean canvas. So go ahead and do a lash bath and make sure and cleanse with water, and do this to both sides. Lash lifts and tints are great for a client who their lashes have been bothering them. They feel like their lashes are super straight. They would like a curl to their lashes. They would like more of a lift to the lashes. And so you can go and do this service for anyone. You could do this for your mans, you could do it for your sister, your mom, whoever, okay? Lash lifts are great for everyone. Even if you have, nice curly lashes and you want an extra curl, you could do a lash lift, all right? Lash lifts usually last anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, and the only aftercare is no wetting the lashes for 24 hours. You're going to dry the lashes, and then you will be ready to start your lash lift process. So this is what your lash lift tray situation should be looking like. You got all of your products and everything ready to go. So I like to start off by taping down the bottom of the eyelid. So as you see, I'm going to take some of my micropore tape and pull down on the eyelid just a little bit. That way, this allows the lash pad, the eye pad, to sit very nice, and also make sure that those bottom lashes don't get mixed in while you're doing your lash lift. Okay, it is important to make sure the bottom lashes are not coming up and that you're not getting it attached to that perm rod where you will be placing your perm down. Okay, so make sure to do this step. It will make a huge difference. All right, so place your tape down. Then you are going to place your iPad down. Make sure you place the iPad down comfortably. You don't want it poking your client's eye. So make sure, and you don't need to have it super close up on that lash line, but you do want to make sure to get some of those bottom lashes down. That way, like I said, they don't interfere while you're doing the lash lift process. Okay, so once your client closes their eyes, we are going to begin our process. Now, with what I did at the bottom of the eye, you also want to do at the top of the eye. So you're going to take your lash tape, you're going to place it right in the middle, just because my client's eyelids kind of sit down a little further, and you want to make sure that you have a good placement and the eyelid is actually nice and upright, because this is going to matter when it comes to placing down your perm rod. And the perm rod is what I'm fixing to show you right here. Okay, these are your perm rods. So you're going to want to make sure, or they're called shields, okay? Perm shields, perm rods, same thing, tomato, okay? But the reason why you're going to lift up on the eyelid a little bit is because you want to make sure that when you place down this lash shield, that it sits at the very base of the eye, because you want to make sure that you get a really good lift on those natural lashes. So these perm shields already have a sticky end on them, But sometimes you do need to use the lash glue that's in your perm kit. Sometimes you do need to use that and actually put that on the eyelid before laying the perm rod down, or laying the perm shield down. I'm sorry, I'm going to say shield instead of perm rod because I feel like it's confusing. Okay, so when it comes to placing down this shield, as you can see, I put it at the very base of the eyelid because we want to make sure that those natural lashes sit up nice and pretty and have a good curl to them. If you put this perm shield too far away from the base of the eyelid, you could end up curling more of the middle of the lash to more of the top of the natural lashes. And when you're doing a perm, that's a big no-no. You do not want to put the perm solution towards the top of the natural lash. Otherwise, you can burn and singe those natural lashes, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so when it comes to placing your shield, make sure that it's nice and right at the base of the eyelid for the lashes. All right, so we're gonna go in with our lash glue, and you're gonna put this all over the perm shield. Okay, now some glue says to wait 30 seconds before placing the before starting to brush the natural lashes up on the shield. But this glue that I have in this particular lash lift kit that I'm using dries super fast. So as soon as I placed that glue down, I went ahead and grabbed one of my spoolies. Actually, this is a micropore brush, and I'm going to go ahead and start laying those lashes up. Okay, so you're going to use you can use a micropore brush, or you can use, even in the kits, it kind of has it has a lash lift comb on there that you can use, but I like using the micro swabs because they're a lot softer on the natural lashes. I have done a perm on this client before, and he told me that I hurt his lashes whenever I was brushing it with the rod. So I like to use the micro swabs because they're a lot softer on the lashes. So if your glue is already dry and you're trying to brush the lashes up on the shield and the lashes aren't sticking, no problem, girl. Just go ahead and go in and add a little bit more of that glue like you saw me just do, and then you're gonna take your micro brush, your micropore swab, whatever you're using, and then you're gonna brush up on the lashes. Make sure that the lashes are sitting nice and upright, and you also want to make sure that they have good directioning on your perm shield, because if the lashes are going wonky or they're kind of going sideways, remember that's how the perm is going to make the lashes sit. So you want to make sure that they are all nice and upright and in a good direction. Okay, now what you just saw me do to this side, I'm going to go in on the other side and do the same thing. Okay, and I'm just making sure that my lashes are sitting upright. So like I said, you could use your spoolie, you could use the tool that comes in your lash lift kit, you can use the micropore brushes, okay, whatever it is that you want to do. But just make sure that those natural lashes are sitting upright, okay? And if you need to, make sure to go in with more glue and then go back in and brush those lashes up again, okay? You're not gonna hurt the natural lashes, but you do want to make sure that all of the lashes are sitting nice and upright. That way, when you put the perm down, it looks good and it sits good on those natural lashes, okay? So what you did to one side, now you're going to go and do to the other side. So same thing, you're going to take your lash glue and you're going to rub it all the way across that shield, from the front section to the middle section, all the way to the back section. So as you see, I'm going in with my glue and just rubbing it all over that shield. And then I'm taking my brush and I'm brushing up those lashes. Okay, you can see right here. And also pay attention to, like I said, how you can see his eyelid lifting up a little bit, because that perm shield that's on there, it is at the base of his eyelid. So whenever you see me brushing up these lashes, just like so, you start to see his eyelid area because I placed my perm shield exactly the way it needed to be, okay? And also, you see me going in and readjusting that iPad because there was a couple of bottom lashes that got stuck to my perm shield, so I just wanted to make sure that the iPad was sitting right to where there was no bottom lashes. Okay, the last thing you want to do is like curl the bottom lashes up into your client's eye. Okay, it can happen, so make sure that you are paying attention of what you're doing. Now, bear with me. This part is probably the most tedious part when it comes to doing a lash lift, but you don't want to rush, and you want to make sure that, I've said it 1,000 times already, but that you want to make sure that the natural lashes are sitting upright, because once you get this step down, the rest of a lash perm is super easy, girl, because after that you're going to just lay the product on the lashes, let the product sit for 15 minutes, and then clean the product off, and then do the next step, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then clean that product off, and then you're going to finish off with your tint, which is super easy, and then you're going to clean all of the lashes off of the perm rod, and you're going to be done. Okay, so this part may take a little bit, but you really want to make sure that the lashes are sitting upright, and also that they aren't falling off of the shield. So if your lashes aren't sticking to the lash shield, then put more glue down and then lay those lashes up again as many times as you need to, because this is the most important part of the lash lift itself. So the very first step that we are going to go in and start with is going to be our actual perm process, okay? So you're going to take your perm lotion, and you are going to get one of your micro swab brushes. You're going to apply a good generous amount of perm onto your brush, and you are going to place all of this perm solution at the base of the natural lashes. Remember, you don't want to place this at the very tip of the natural lashes, because you could over process and you could potentially singe the tips of your client's lashes. They'll be kind of like wiry and wonky and hard to use, and you don't want hard to like brush, and they will hurt. So you don't want to do that. All right, so make sure that the perm solution that you are putting is solely at the base, right at the base where I told you needed to apply your perm shield to make sure that's where you're going to get the most lift of the natural lashes. That's where you want to apply all of the perm lotion, okay? Now, the perm lotion starts to activate fast, so as soon as you put it down, you do need to make sure and cover it up as well. And that's what we needed the plastic wrap or the saran wrap for, was to cover up the product that's sitting on the eye, because like I said, if you don't cover up your product to keep that moisture in, it will dry out, and then the lashes will start kind of falling off the shield, which is normal for some lashes to kind of fall off the shield. Just place them back as needed. But if you don't put any saran wrap to help that product sit, then it's going to dry up pretty fast, okay? And then sometimes you won't get the best results by having dried up product. So now you're going to go in and place down your plastic saran wrap, and make sure to get it nice and snug in there. Push it onto the product, that way it wraps and closes up, and then that way that perm can actually get activating and get working really, really good. And you're going to go in and do the same thing to the other side. Now remember, because your perm is already probably activated at this point, you may need to, usually it's 15 minutes. I'm going to show you the book right here. 15 minutes. Afterward, remove the lotion, use a dry micro brush, no need to cleanse. So we're going to let this sit for 15 minutes. Turn on your timer. Okay, girls, so after you get the lashes sitting upright exactly how you want them, remember you want them to be sitting with a nice curl, and you want them all to be straight. If your lashes are kind of wonky or twisted, and then you put the perm solution down, remember they will stick how you place them, okay? So this is very crucial to make sure you lay the lash hairs exactly how you want them, okay? And so I just put my perm solution down, and then I applied my plastic wrap, okay? That's just gonna keep, like I said, the product on there moist, because this product has to sit for 15 minutes. Once that product is done for 15 minutes, we're gonna remove the plastic wrap, and then we're gonna completely clean off the lashes. Now remember, when you place your perm solution down, you only want to place it at the base of that natural lash. You don't want to place that perm all the way to the very tips, because this can singe or kind of burn the tips of the natural lashes, and that's not the look that you want, okay? So make sure that you only place the perm solution at the base of the natural lashes. So we're going to let this sit for 15 minutes, and then we're going to switch to our step 2. All right, remember the perm solution does smell a little funny. It does smell like a perm, so if you've ever gotten a perm or smell a perm, it is going to smell a little funny. Sometimes your clients will ask what the smell is. Just let them know that it is the perm solution, okay? Alrighty, after the 15 minutes is up, you are going to remove your saran wrap, your plastic wrap, off of the lash shield. Do it to both sides. Now you're going to take I like to remove my product with a Q-tip because the Q-tip absorbs all the excess and it just gives you a nice clean space to work with, and add your next product, which is going to be our fixation lotion. So we set the perm, but now we're going to add some fixation lotion, which allows the perm to sit even better. So I'm going to go in with my Q-tip and make sure to clean from the base of the eyelid all the way up to the tip of the natural lash. Okay, make sure to remove everything as well too. As you can see, all the white stuff, that all of your perm that's sitting at the base, you're going to want to make sure to remove all of that product before you do the next step. In general, perms are super chill, really relaxed service, definitely different than lash extensions, but lash lifts, lash perms, whatever they're called nowadays, which I'm so used to saying perm because that's what the term used to be. Now it's lash lift, but lash perm, same thing. Okay, these are super simple to do, and you can definitely have them on your menu, especially if you are a lash artist. It's really good to have on your menu. If you don't want to though, that's okay too. I personally never lash lifts have never been one of the things I love to do. I definitely love doing lash extensions. The lash lift process is just a little bland to me, so it's definitely not something that I'm like, oh yeah, make sure and come to me for a lash lift. But when my clients ask and they want it, I'm always available to do it because I know how to do it. So if you are, investing in learning this type of skill, it's definitely not a skill to sleep on. It's definitely something that's worth doing if you really enjoy doing it. So alrighty, second step, we are going to go in with our fixation lotion. So same thing, you're going to take a micropore brush, you're going to dip it in, get a generous amount, and you are going to do the same thing. You're going to rub that product all over your lashes. Okay, now you can rub this product all up and down the lashes. You don't have to just place this at the base where that perm was at. Okay, you can put this all over the lashes because it's going to allow that perm to really set in. So you're going to put your fixation lotion all over these lashes, and then same thing, after you place this all over the lashes, then you are going to go in with another piece of saran wrap and cover it, let it sit for 15 minutes, and the hard part's done, girl. After that, we're going to do a quick lash tint. So I'm going to show you what product I use to do my tint. You're going to let the tint sit anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, wipe it off, and it's done. Okay, lash lifts are super easy, super chill. So like I said, it's definitely not a skill that you should sleep on. If it's something that you've invested in or been interested in learning, I'm glad to help you with this tutorial, because like I said, it's not one of my main things that I love to do, but it's definitely a skill that I have under my belt that if clients are asking for it and they want it, I can still deliver on it. So definitely don't sleep on this. And if you have any questions about anything I'm doing as I'm going through the video, just drop a comment below. Okay, go in, place your saran wrap again all over that product. Okay, make sure that saran wrap is covering up that product nice and good. The first time I laid my saran wrap down, it kind of wasn't sitting exactly how I wanted to. So as you just saw me do, I kind of folded it up a little bit, crinkled it into more of the size of the lash shield. That way it can sit nice and tight on that lash line. Okay, if you don't close it up all the way, you can still run the risk of your product drying out. So make sure not to do that. Please make sure and put a timer on for 15 minutes each time that you are applying these products, girl, and do not over process. That is one of the things that I see a lot of girls do. Lash lifts and tints are super easy, but I see so many girls just literally over process the perm and then ruin someone's natural lashes. That's not what we're here to do. Okay, so make sure and set your timer, and make sure and pay attention. Sometimes people get distracted because they end up doing other things, because it's like, oh, I'm waiting for 15 minutes so I can clean up, or I could do this, I could do that. They forget to set the timer, they forget, and then the next thing you know, they've over processed the lash lift. So don't do that, and make sure and pay attention, because it's super simple, but it's also one of those things that because it's super simple sort of skill to do, you can easily really mess it up, okay? So I'm not trying to scare you, but pay attention, all right? Then you're going to go in, remove your saran wrap, and then same thing, take one of your Q-tips, remove all the product off of the natural lashes from the very base all the way up to the top. And the next step that we are going to do is going to be our lash tint. So we're going to actually go in and darken the lashes, which anyone who's doing a lash lift, I feel like always should opt in to do a tint as well too, because it'll darken up the lashes. It'll really make the eyes pop and stand out, and it really complements the actual lash lift itself or lash perm. Alrighty, so you're going to want to do 1 pump of the eyelash and brow tint and 1 pump of the oxidant. And I just use the little cup that comes with the bottle, okay? But you could definitely do this also to the side. This is my product already mixed, okay? So when you pump, the brown is going to be dark, and then you're going to pump the white, you're going to mix it up, and then it's going to give you this brown color that you saw, what you see me applying right now, okay? So for the tint, you're gonna want to go all over the natural lashes, from the base all the way up to the root of the natural lash, okay? Now you will start to see the tint darken pretty quick. This is why my lash shields were also brown. As you saw, I had some clear lash shields, but there was also some lash shields that were brown. This is the reason why, because every time you do a tint, it's going to stain your shields as well too, because it's a tint, you know, it's a color. So it's pretty much like how you color your brows or how you color your hair. That's what this is, except it's for the lashes, okay? So if someone's getting a lash lift, I always would recommend that they do the tint too, because it complements the lash lift itself, and it helps the lashes stand out. So this was my first time doing the tint on this client. I usually just do the lash lift on him, but I did the lash lift and tint, and he really liked the way the lashes stood out more. He was like, oh, it makes my eyes stand out, makes my eyes look brighter, and he really enjoyed it. So you could do this, like I said, for girls or guys, if it's your man's, if it's your brother, whoever, okay? But lash lift and tint, definitely the way to go. So you're gonna take this tint, rub it all over the lashes, and make sure and do this on both sides. As you can see, the lashes are sitting up really nice, but at this point, sometimes some of the natural lashes do tend to pop off of the shield. That's okay. Like I said, just use your product to try to brush them up as best as you can until you are ready to 100% remove the shield. So we're gonna let our lash lift, we're gonna let our lash tint sit for anywhere from about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, sometimes some of the lash lifts say to do it 15, 20 minutes, whatever the directions say, but I'm just going to allow it to sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, and like I said, as you can see right now, some of the lashes are starting to fall off because we already finished the lash lift process part. So now we're just going to go in with our Q-tip and remove all of that excess dye that we use to do our lash tint. So take your Q-tip and wipe it all the way up and make sure and cleanse off all of the extra tint product. You don't want any of that product lingering, because you know you could burn your client's eye or cause a stinging, burning sensation. You don't want to do that. So make sure to, and that's why I like using the Q-tips, because the Q-tips absorb all of that excess product. So that way, when you go to remove, we're going to use our cleanser portion of our lash lift next, and you're going to see how we're going to remove these lashes and gently remove our lash shield. And that is all. We are good to go. So like I said, lash lift and tints are super easy. They're super fun, and really not a whole lot of hard work to it. It's just a step-by-step process when you're doing these lash lift and tints. Alrighty, so we're just about done wrapping up our process. We are going to take our cleanser liquid, and we are going to, you can use a micropore brush or you can use a Q-tip. It really doesn't matter, because at this point we're going to just go in and be removing the natural lashes from that lash shield. Okay, so you're going to just take this and rub it all over the lash shield until those natural lashes pop off, and you will see them Remember, sometimes you put a lot of glue down to hold the lashes, so it may take a little bit, but just keep rubbing it across that lash shield until those natural lashes are all off. Because you want to make sure when you remove that lash shield that there are no natural lashes stuck to it, because you don't want to pull on the natural lashes, okay? So once all of your lashes are off completely from your lash shield, then you can go in, remove your tape, and remove the actual lash shield that you use to place the lashes up for your lash lift. Once all the lashes are removed, you're going to gently remove your lash shield. If you didn't use any glue on your lash shield, then it should come off pretty smoothly. If you use glue on your lash shield though, then make sure and take some more of that cleanser liquid that we use to remove the natural lashes and rub a little bit of that in between the eyelid and the lash shield itself, okay? So remove your lash shield, and then you're going to be good to remove your top layer of tape as well. But don't take off your iPad and bottom tape just yet, because we're going to go ahead and go in with our nutrition oil. This is going to help the natural lashes get some of that moisture back in them. Sometimes after you do a lash lift and tint, remember, your client can't wet them for 24 hours. So I like to take one of my spoolies and brush it in this oil, and you are going to take that brush and brush it all across the natural lashes. You want to put some of that oil and nutrients back in it, because you just used perm solution and fixation lotion. Those things can dry out the natural lashes, so you want to make sure and put some moisture back in it. So I like to use a spoolie, and I like to rub that oil on it and rub it all the way through the natural lashes. I like to rub it from the base all the way to the very tip. And that nutrition oil actually smells really good. It's funny because the perm itself stinks really bad, but the nutrition oil smells like Peachios for some reason. It smells really good. So make sure and rub that nice and right through the natural lashes, because remember, your client won't be able to wet them for 24 hours. So you want to make sure and put a little bit of moisture back in their lashes, because sometimes they can feel a little dry and a little uncomfortable afterwards, just depending. Obviously, if you're doing a good job on your lash lift, you shouldn't have no complaints, but sometimes that's just the reality. You know, when you're using products and using things that you don't know, everyone's reactions are different to it. So alrighty, so we're going to go in and remove our tape nice and gently. Remove on both sides. And since you've already put your oil on the lashes, you're going to just remove your tape, remove the eye pads, and then you're going to get your lash fan and dry out those lashes for a good minute, okay? If you need to, keep brushing through the lashes just to make sure that they're sitting nice and upright. Now, we didn't do a huge curl or a huge lift this time, but remember, depending on what type of curl or how big of the curl your client wants, that's how you will pick your lash shield, your lash perm rod, okay? So if your client wants more of a lift, more of a curl, then you will use the smaller rods to give a bigger lift. But that is all for our lash lift and tint. So you're going to remove the iPad, remove your tape nice and gently, and then you're going to dry out the lashes, okay? Remember, you cannot wet the lashes for 24 hours. Also, make sure to tell your client the aftercare and how long their lash lift and tint is supposed to last before they would need to come in and see you again for another lash lift and tint, okay? You can do this as many times as you'd like, but it also depends within the mark range of how often you should be doing it. But that is all for our lash lift and tint tutorial today. I hope you learned some good techniques on how to do a good lash lift and tint. And like I said, if you need any help or have any questions, just make sure to drop a comment below and I will help you out there.